shining. In the storms we're fighting, grace never hiding. Welcome to Live Podcast, where we have been journeying through the Bible, and I hope that you've been following us on all our social media platforms so that you don't get to miss any episode. Today, we are going to start yet another book, and that is the book of Second Samuel. And today, we're going to do an introduction on the book of Second Samuel. The book of Second Samuel is the history of the reign of King David, who was the second king of Israel. The author is Prophet Nathan and Gad, the seer, as per 1 Chronicles chapter 29, verse 29. The original audience is the people of Israel. And the date written according to Life Application Bible Study is between 930 BC, when written soon after David's reign, which was about 1010 or between 1010 to 970 BC. The setting is in the land of Israel under David's rule. And the purpose. What is the purpose of writing the book of Second Samuel? Number one, to record the history of David's reign. Number two, to demonstrate effective leadership under God. And then number three, to reveal that one person can make a difference. Number four, to show the personal qualities that please God. And we're going to see that a lot in King David as opposed to King Saul. And then number five, to depict David as an ideal leader of an imperfect kingdom, and to foreshadow Christ, who will be the ideal leader of a new and perfect kingdom. The key verse. What is the key verse in the book of 2 Samuel? The key verse is 2 Samuel chapter 5 verse 12. What does it say? And David realized that the Lord had confirmed him as king over Israel and had blessed his kingdom for the sake of his people Israel. And then in this book, we have a special feature. What is that? This book was named after the prophet who anointed David and guided him in living for God. And that is Prophet Samuel. What is the blueprint in 2 Samuel? The blueprint is divided into two. The first one, we're going to see David's success, and that is from chapter 1, verse 1, all through chapter 10, verse 19. Under David's success, we're going to see David becomes king over Judah. David becomes king over all Israel. And then we're going to see David conquers the surrounding nations. David took the fractured kingdom of Israel that Saul had left behind and built a strong, united power. 40 years later, David would turn this kingdom over to his son Solomon. David's heart was inclined to God, and we're going to read that. He was a king who governed God's people by God's principles, and God blessed him greatly. Like David, following God is ultimately the most successful decision we can make. And then blueprint number 2, we're going to see David's struggles. This is from chapter 11, verse 1, all through chapter 24, verse 25. Under here, we're going to see the famous story of David and Bathsheba. We're going to see turmoil in his family. And then we're going to see a national rebellion against David after the turmoil in his family. And then we're going to see the later years of David's rule. So under David's struggle, we read that David sinned with Bathsheba and then tried to cover his sin by having Bathsheba's husband, that is Uriah, killed. Although David was forgiven for his sin, the consequences remained. He experienced trouble and distress, both in his family and with the nation. Remember, God is always ready to forgive, but we must live with the consequences of our actions. Covering up our sin will only multiply sin's painful consequences. And then in the book of 2 Samuel, we're going to see 5 mega themes. Mega theme number 1, we're going to see kingdom growth. And here, under David's leadership, Israel's kingdom grew rapidly. With the growth came many changes. What are these? From tribal independence to centralized government. Number two, from the leadership of judges to a monarchy. And then number three, from decentralized worship to worship at Jerusalem. And that what we note here is God's work done in God's way never lacks God's supply of wisdom and energy. And then mega theme number two, we're going to see personal greatness. David's popularity and influence increased greatly. He realized that the Lord was behind his success because he wanted to pour out his kindness on Israel. David regarded God's interest as more important than his own. If you're a leader out there, that is something that we can emulate. That is, regard God's interest instead of our own personal interest. Number three, mega theme, we're going to see the theme of justice. King David showed justice, mercy, and fairness to Saul's family, enemies, rebels, allies, and close friends alike. His first rule was grounded in his faith and knowledge of God. God's perfect moral nature is the standard for justice. Then, mega theme number four, we're going to see the consequences of sin. David abandoned his purpose as a leader and king in time of war. He came from triumph to trouble. David committed adultery with Bathsheba. He experienced consequences of his sin that destroyed both his family and the nation. But life application gives, Bible study gives a very good explanation on the temptation, on the consequences of sin. And it says, temptation quite often comes when a person's life is aimless. We sometimes think that sinful pleasures and freedom from God's restraint will bring us a feeling of vitality. But sin creates a cycle of suffering that is not worth the fleeting pleasures it offers. Then finally, we're going to see mega theme number five, that is feet of clay. David not only sinned with Bathsheba, he murdered an innocent man. He neglected to discipline his sons when they got involved in rape and murder. This great hero showed a lack of character in some of his most important personal decisions, and that is family. The man of iron had feet of clay. Therefore, we learn that sin should never be considered as a mere weakness or flaw. Sin is fatal and must be eradicated from our lives. David's life teaches us to have compassion for all people, including those whose sinful nature leads them into sinful acts. It serves as a warning to us not to excuse sin in our own lives, even in times of success. That was an introduction on the book of 2 Samuel, and tomorrow we're going to tackle one chapter a day. So follow us on all social media platforms so that you don't miss an episode. God bless you.